The first time Star Princess Aurelia asked Earth for its best. Every empire in the Orion Spiral laughed, because Earth was a mudball with oceans too violent, weather too unstable, and people too stubborn to die politely. Aurelia had expected a shining admiral, a gene-sculpted knight, maybe a diplomat with silver skin and 1,000 medals. Instead, the human arrived in a plain black coat, with a medical scar climbing his throat, a heartbeat that sounded slightly mechanical, and eyes that watched exits before faces. His name was Elias Ward. And the file beside him said only one thing that mattered. Deceased for 9 minutes, recovered under battlefield collapse, returned to duty by personal request. Aurelia read the line twice, then looked at him as if Earth had sent her a ghost. Elias bowed because protocol demanded it, not because fear did. And the court whispered behind jeweled veils. The Vayer assassins had already taken 3 royal cousins, 2 admirals, and 1 moon governor. And now the princess wanted a shield before the coronation convoy crossed the glass nebula. The old houses mocked the human. His bones were not plated. His reflexes were not chemically enhanced. His skin could be pierced by ordinary steel. But Elias only asked for the palace floor plans, the guard rotation, and the names of everyone who had smiled too quickly when his arrival was announced. Then the first alarm died before it rang, and everyone understood the assassination had already begun. The attack came during the blessing of stars. When Aurelia stood beneath a ceiling of living crystal and 10,000 nobles watched her pretend not to tremble, the assassins wore choir robes, their weapons hidden inside prayer instruments that unfolded into pale blades. 1 moved for the princess, 1 for the queen mother, 1 for the reactor shrine beneath the hall. Elias did not shout because shouting wasted breath. He stepped sideways, pulled Aurelia behind him, and caught the first blade through his left hand. The court gasped, expecting him to fall. But Elias twisted his wounded hand around the weapon, trapped it, and broke the assassin's wrist against his knee. Aurelia had seen duelists perform beautifully. She had seen palace guards die bravely, but she had never seen someone fight like he had already paid death once and refused all future invoices. Elias moved without drama. Dirty, close, practical. A chair became a shield. A dropped chalice became a distraction. A dead assassin's sleeve became a tourniquet. He shoved Aurelia behind a statue just before a sonic dart struck the crystal where her face had been. Then he spoke to her for the first time without royal titles. Stay low, breathe slow. When I move, you move. She hated the familiarity and obeyed instantly. That was the moment the princess realized. Earth had not sent its best weapon. Earth had sent its best survivor. The third assassin reached the reactor shrine, and the hall began to glow red. The Vayer plan was not merely murder. It was humiliation. Burn the royal line, vaporize the coronation witnesses, leave a crater where the throne had stood. Aurelia tried to rise, because duty had been carved into her since childhood. But Elias pressed her back with 1 blood-slick hand and ran toward the shrine alone. He had no armor against radiation, no sacred clearance codes, no noble blood to open the emergency seals. Yet he reached the control bridge as the assassin locked the overload lever. The assassin laughed and told him no human could survive the chamber long enough to stop it. Elias answered by walking in anyway. The room beyond the glass turned white with heat. Aurelia screamed his name, forgetting every rule about royal composure. Elias moved inside the glare like a figure seen through lightning. He fought the assassin beside the exposed core, both silhouettes breaking apart and colliding in the brightness. The assassin was faster, stronger, born in lower gravity, but trained in killing halls. Elias was simply unwilling to fall, unwilling to leave 1 more person behind, unwilling to let death win by repetition. He slammed the assassin into the manual release, drove his own shoulder against the lever, and the overload dropped 1 brutal notch at a time. When the doors opened, Elias collapsed into the smoke. Burned, bleeding, alive, no one laughed at Earth after that. Not in that hall, not in that kingdom. The healers begged the princess to leave while they cut away his coat, but Aurelia stayed, kneeling beside a human who had treated her crown like a secondary objective and her life like the entire mission. His pulse stuttered against the machine, stopping twice, returning twice, as if his body remembered the old road back when his eyes opened. He saw the princess above him and tried to apologize for bleeding on her ceremonial floor. Aurelia began laughing, then crying, then ordered every noble present to kneel. The old houses resisted, until the Queen Mother stood first. Lowering her ancient crown toward the human's bed, one by one the court followed. Admirals, priests, governors, rivals, all bowing to a man who owned no planet and had brought no army. Aurelia asked him why Earth had sent him. Elias said his planet believed the person who had already beaten death might be useful near someone death wanted badly. She took his damaged hand, careful of the bandages, and said Earth had misunderstood. He was not useful, he was impossible, by dawn. The Vair fleet appeared over the capital, believing the palace crippled, believing the coronation broken, believing the princess afraid. Aurelia walked onto the balcony in armor, crowned before the sunrise. Elias stood beside her with one arm in a sling. Too pale, too tired, too human, and the entire kingdom saw him there. The Vair demanded surrender. Aurelia sent one transmission. Clear enough for every star system to hear? You tried to kill my family with shadows. Earth sent me a man who came back from the dark. Now I am sending him your answer. Elias looked at the enemy fleet, smiled like a wound reopening, and whispered, Princess, tell them death already had its chance.